Thank you for joining us once again. We had an incredible panel just now on the expression and the exploration of virtual cities. What does that look like when we start talking about, yes, virtual cities, that you can one day relate to a city virtually as common as you would Paris, Austin, San Francisco, New York, that you would one day refer to a virtual community that has the populace of a natural, real city, as we must consider that we are extending reality. I'm bringing Devin Baldwin up with us now to have a brief discussion on what does it look like at the intersection of the metaverse, AI, and STEM. Devin, your mic, sir. We welcome you. We greet you.
Thank you for having me, Chris. Thank you, Gatherverse community, for having me as well. I'm glad
We're
to be here.
certainly happy to have you here. Devin, let's lead into it. When we start talking about STEM technology, with the few minutes that we have to be able to expand, why is this critically important, especially under the banner of education, which certainly has a place in my heart, and I know it has a place in yours, and many of our audience that are with us today, educators and professors and teachers and parents and mentors. When we talk about the power of STEM at this very frail intersection of,
Mm.
of XR and the metaverse, what does that look like to you, and why should we be concerned?
Well, for me personally, let me just give a little context. I am an educator. I teach WebXR development to middle school and high school children and some adults, but mainly I work with kids, mainly the youth of the Bay Area, the Oakland area, mainly underserved communities, Black and brown children. And very early on within that realm, you see that there's a lack of access. And we have to realize where our education system is now, which they recently closed down a number of schools in Oakland due to there's just many there's teacher strikes, there's many things happening education wise to where the teachers don't feel supported enough to teach these students. So the education system has failed them. Where STEM comes in is it is now something to where it's tangible. Well, the way I first got introduced to, working with kids in STEM is I went through a nonprofit called STEM Tank, and I taught kids how to do basically digital fabrication using the laser cutter, 3D printer, and different things like that. And the thing that really sparked the light in my head was when I was like, okay, these kids are actually very intrigued with the tangible aspect of tech, seeing something that, you know, they can touch, they can, design, taking it from a an idea on the computer, sending it over to the printer, sending it to the laser cutter, and having a physical something they can touch. It's very transformative. Um, and from the perspective I have within my classroom, I take a different approach. I want the kids to understand, like, hey, this is something that you need to understand, and I'm going to make sure that you understand it. I'm going to take as much time as it takes to get you to understand it. We have a set, course, but I'm very patient and I'm there for my kids. I listen. It's a very
Sure.
important thing with kids because kids ultimately just want to be heard. When they're heard, they're able to they're able to kind of relax and comprehend and take in things.
Do you have a concern, Devin, when it comes to these emerging technologies, such as AI in particular, when it
Mm.
comes to the lack of availability for especially our underserved communities in places in cities like Oakland and Compton and elsewhere, that they're not getting enough information to understand what's coming their way?
Absolutely, because more than likely they're not, and I'll be blatantly honest. Most of the time, they don't care.
Sure.
Like they don't care. They only care about what's on social media. They only care about what's happening with celebrities and music artists. It's really, getting them to understand the importance of STEM and what it can make for you and what it can really give you. I do my best and I go into every class, every situation saying, it'd be amazing if I can reach them all. But if I can just reach one or two, if I can just reach one or two.
And you know what? That's so heartfelt and so precious, even with our time that's now spent together. I have to say that as a child that grew up in those streets of Oakland with the work that you're doing, I had a dad. I had a dad that was a technologist. My dad was a brilliant technologist. I've been in technology for a very long time. Weren't for him, I would not be sitting here with you today. The work that you're doing is some of the most heartfelt work that I've ever come across in life. Those who take the pilgrimage opportunity to spend some of their lives to reach to our underserved communities, no matter the color, no matter the background, that don't have access and that reach out to our children. I hope everyone gives you every opportunity that they have from their heart to help support you, Devin. Thank you for joining us today. Our gather was well, sir.